Welcome back everyone to Pigeon Studios. Today I'm going to be taking you through my entire Gorman Lego MOC. This project started about 2 to 3 months ago, but it's been slow progress, but I eventually finished it a couple of weeks ago. Now just in this video I'm just going to be talking you through some of the techniques I used in the MOC, and mainly be talking about all the minifigures that I created. And I've got about 120 for the entire MOC. So yeah, let's get started. We'll start with the interior of the MOC. So first, on this room to the right, I've got a kind of bar slash, not really a cafe, but maybe the counter you could call it. And the characters in here have got more of a posh, dressed up look. So they all got gowns or some kind of fancy attire. And really, there's no special techniques in this room. Pretty simple stuff. I do quite like these chairs that I made. Got the rounded tops and the bar stools, and that's just an inverted 2x2 tile. So it's pretty simple to make. I bought, I got a bunch of these pillar pieces in the picker brick, so I've got hundreds of these, so I just tried to use as many of those as possible throughout the entire MOC. I've got that little spider because obviously the Gormans are obsessed with the spiders, and then this nice chandelier slash lighting centerpiece right in the middle of the room. Then in the main entranceway for the plaza, I've got the scene with Andor and Cassian, which I'll try and show you. It's a bit hard sometimes to get a good view of the minifigs without me knocking any of them over. But yeah, and then I've got the concierge who helps out Andor in the MOCs. Sorry, not in the MOCs, in the movie or TV show. And this room is pretty simple, just studs are not on top technique again on the walls, and the glass triangular door is the main technique that I use, and that's pretty simple. It's a 45-degree angle, so not too difficult. And then the final interior room is just a cafe, nothing too special. Probably the most important part is I've got the two Rylands, so Carlo, and I can never remember the daughter's name. But yeah, I made custom ones of those, and I'll show you them in a little bit. But one of the big things I wanted to focus on when creating the MOC was to be able to have a view of someone right through the window. So you can see that guy eating his food through the window, and you can kind of see it again if I get the right angle. It's a bit hard to do. Kind of there, you can see it with that guy through the window as well. So yeah, that was one of the big things I wanted to do for the MOC. Besides that, I wanted to also include the pillars, as you can see right here, which is a little bit of an illegal building technique, but it's not terrible. As you can see there's a snot brick on the inside there, and then I've got plates on the outside, and just so it creates that slight angle. It's only about a 10-degree angle, if that, and I think that just works perfectly because it looks like it's hollowed out on the inside. You can't really see that brick in there. Let's see if I can there we go, added that back. Another thing that took quite a long time is the light. So it's a basic circular technique with studs not on top again. Pretty simple to do that, but the difficult part was attaching these lights in a weird way. So I've actually gone and got a hose piece from I have it from a Jurassic Park or World set, and then just the gap between the two studs, and then I put a stud on the bottom so that it's allowed to hang down from it, and it holds itself just in place, just enough so that I get this kind of nice lighting fixture slash chandelier again. And then I'm using rib pieces from a fossil. Yeah, from the Ideas dinosaur set. So yeah, this is probably my favourite thing to do in the entire MOC. besides that, the main technique for the Gorman was the creating the floor design, and I'll take all the minifigures off so that you can see that design in a second. But first, I'll just run down a few more little details. I've got the barricade set up with the guy firing too early and causing panic. I built a bunch of banners made out of random pieces. That's a cape. Then I've got a red curved piece, some more capes, some more curved pieces, and just basically just a bunch of random figures. I've also got the person who hangs on top of the kind of halfway up the monument, and that was one of my favourite things to do. I built that right from the start, so that person's been there for like 3 months. I've also got the guy who starts singing here. He's just a little bit higher up. He's on some of the kind of the cushions around the monument. I don't really know what they are. And then probably the last detail is just because I didn't build the roof or the second layer, I just put Dedramiro and the sniper there. So that's kind of the entire MOC covered. And now let's go into the minifigs. Okay, so to start off with the minifigures, I've grabbed all of the named characters in the MOC, and I'll just go from right to left. So I showed you before, these are, that's Carlo Rylands and his daughter. Those are pretty simple. I've given them both capes and kind of slightly formal wear. Like that's Ron's torso on Carlo Rylands. And then I've got a first order torso on the daughter. And both the white arms because they kind of wear vests. So quite happy with how those two looked. Moving on, we've got the Imperial sniper. Pretty easy to make. Just TIE fighter pilot torso, hooded cape on top, you know, and this custom sniper that I made. We've got Lego's Dedramiro, which really happy to get on the MOC. Then we've got Cyril and Andor, of course. Cyril, I'm not too happy about, but I couldn't figure out anything better than this. He does wear a tie, like a suit and tie, but it's a Star Wars version, and I don't know if this looks too Star Wars. It doesn't look Star Warsy enough. So yeah, I could have improved on him. Andor's obviously the Lego version. Then I've got Wilman Pack, which I'm really happy about, and when I showed this minifigure back in like week 2 of the building series, people were very happy with that, and it's just basically Finn's torso from the episode 9 sets, not Han Solo, sorry, Indiana Jones's legs, Wong's face, and then just that black hairpiece, which comes in a few minifigures. And yeah, I think that's probably my favourite minifigure of the entire MOC. Then we've got the guy who starts singing the chant for the Gormans. Again, quite happy with him. I think the hat is almost perfect, and the face is really good as well. And then I've got the guy who's kind of sitting halfway up the monument, and I've given him a little cape. And then I've also got the concierge who helps her, Andor, and he's just mainly purple because that's the colour I wanted. And that hat piece which I got from the Purple Bus instructor from the Harry Potter sets. I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with names. So the rest of the figures aren't named, so I'm going to kind of fly through them a lot quicker. This is more of the fancier suited Gormans. So I've got the bartender and the waiter there, and then all of the Gormans who have like suits or gowns or, you know, a business attire, and you know, they're mainly made out of Harry Potter figures. You know, I've got part of the elves CMF from the Harry Potter series, you know, and just random suits like that. That's the Agatha CMF from the first Marvel minifigures, and a few Dumbledore suits. So some really simple minifigures to make. Yeah. The next lot of minifigures is all the Imperials that I used throughout the MOC, and start off with the basic Stormtrooper unit. I've got 11 of these in the MOC, but I also used 2 of the zombie versions. And the reason is just because from behind, you really can't tell that they're the zombie version. So if you play a little camera trick and just make sure that you're not going to see the front of those, they can work perfectly as normal stormtroopers. And because I bought a few of the battle packs, I had a few of these, so I wanted to include as many stormtroopers as I could. So, and I did the same technique with the death troopers. So they're a little bit easy to tell that they're the zombie ones from behind, but again, because they're a darker color, it's harder to tell still. So I thought it was alright, but I wasn't too sure about it. But yeah, I used these guys. I'm not even sure if they're actually on Gorman, but they kind of look cool, so I added them in the MOC. I also had 4 of them, so good amount to include in the MOC. And then the other minifigures I have a KX unit, a ISB agent, and a Imperial technician. Yeah. So I think a good amount of Imperials, maybe a couple more Stormtroopers would have been good, but overall I think it covered them all. Oh, and I also got to include my Imperial militia. So I've got 2 militia. I don't know what the non-plural word for that is. With the hats and I've got 2 without because I've only got 2 of those helmets. So, but I had 4 of the Imperial officers. So I know some people are saying they have really high ranks, and yes, I understand that. But it was kind of the only way I could make these troopers. And people also saying that there should be like a black version of these troopers, but I thought in the show their black outfits were what they were wearing before, and then they changed into grey outfits. But apparently there's 2 separate sets of troopers, so I'm not really sure about that. But I just went with the grey because I thought they looked the best, and they're probably my favourite Imperial minifigures. Okay, so I'm going to showcase the Gorman minifigures in sets of 20 so that you kind of have a good look at each minifigure. I'm going to explain some of the parts that I use for each. A lot of it is Harry Potter or other Star Wars characters. We've got Grief Karga, Han Solo. We've also got Dumbledore's outfits, more Han Solos. We've got that person in the red right here. He's wearing the torso from the Dungeon and Dragons CMF. We've got a Fleur Delacour outfit over there. And just, really looking for that kind of multiple layers of woolen materials, because obviously they're famous for their fabrics, the Gormans. Yeah, I'll show you the next set of 20 now. So here's some more Gormans. Some of the pieces I use for these guys, that's a backwards Tusken Raider torso, Luke Skywalker torso, Professor Strout from Hogwarts, a lot of torso from Harry Potter. That's the old Ben Kenobi torso, some ponchos, some more business looking fellows. I've got Leia Organa's outfit from episode 6, the Ewok outfit, and then more banners and stuff, just simple stuff with capes and poles. Here's the last bunch of Gorman minifigures, and this is really a random mixture of them. I've got some minor type looking characters like here and here who've been looking busy like they're working in the mines. I love the use of the Hoth Trooper helmets. They're probably my favourite kind of piece that I use throughout all the Gormans. I've got characters like that's General Dodana's torso and legs on that guy. More Han Solo pieces used. But then I've also got some goofy characters like this guy here, who's got the funny hairstyle with his glasses. Yeah, and just it's a real mixture of parts that I use. Some of it I wasn't trying to go too colourful with most of them, but I really wanted the tan beige look for most of them, but some of them did need a bit of colour, so I added to it. I've got 2 characters I'm going to show you in a moment, which were the Easter eggs. Yeah, so I said a couple of weeks ago that I'd add some kind of simple Easter eggs into the MOC. So I added these two characters. Tell me if you can find where they are throughout the MOC. Obviously got Vin Diesel on the right and Saw Gerrera on the left. Saw Gerrera, I accidentally added him into the MOC and realised he really shouldn't be there because chronologically it doesn't make sense. But he kind of looked the part, so I kept him in. I just wanted the final shot of the video to be kind of a panorama of the techniques that I use to make this floor design, because that's probably my favourite technique that I've used in the MOC. It's just this, I wouldn't say simple snot technique, it's probably the most advanced technique that I've used, especially these kind of corner areas of the circle. They were very difficult. Getting the monument at 45 degrees was actually a little bit more difficult than I first thought, but I came up with this technique, and it wasn't too bad. Definitely the hardest part is going along the edges and trying to fill in the space like this. This was the best I could fill in the space because it's not two studs wide, it's half a stud shorter than that, so it's like 4.5 stud or plates wide, so it's really confusing. But overall, I think from afar you can barely even see those gaps, and it looks really good in my opinion. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed them all.